My name is Sierra Swartz. I'm the writer, director, actor in the short film Womanhood. And it's about two polar opposite teenage sisters who sort of navigate becoming young women and the complexities and the emotional toll and small things, seemingly small things, being very big emotional pivotal points in their lives.
Where did the inspiration for this film come from? Where did you get the story? Where did it inspire you?
I think I just think a lot as a woman, and it was sort of cathartic. I was really just writing it for myself. I didn't think that it was going to get made. I didn't think other people would respond to it. I was just writing it for myself, trying to figure out how women work, and it was very interesting to me. And so it was sort of like a puzzle in my head, and on paper I wanted to figure it out, how two girls we can be so many different types of girls when we're young. Just boys might be the same thing. I'm just a girl, so I wrote about the girls. But you live so many different lives. You're so many different people. One month you're emo, the next month you're a girly girl. It changes depending on your circumstances, depending on who you meet and school. And so it was just a puzzle that I wanted to figure out, and that's kind of how it came about.
Did you figure out this puzzle, or are you still working on it?
I will be working on it till I'm dead, probably, but it was at least a fun. I figured it out a little bit. I think more so it was sort of like a hug to my younger self, being like, oh, right, it's just confusing for everyone that age, and you're always going to mess up, and that's okay. So I think it was almost like when I ended it, and when we filmed it, and when it became a complete film, and I watched it over, it was a bit like I said, like a hug to my younger self, of like watching it from a farther out perspective, because when you're that young and you're in it, everything, it's like a catastrophe. Your world is ending. You've ruined your life, even though you're 15 and all you did was, maybe make out with a guy who doesn't like you very much, but it feels like your whole world is ending. And so seeing it from a perspective now, my age, looking down on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna be fine, and I am fine now. So yeah.
So tell me about the casting and the characters. I mean, you have a wonderful group of people that you've decided to choose to be in this film.
Thank you.
So where did you find the casting, and where did you find your characters at?
Well, we went through a bunch of self-tapes. It was during COVID, so all self-tapes, no in person. And I casted for the girl who plays my younger sister for many. I went through so many different tapes, and no one had, I think because she doesn't want to be an actor, so she had that, like, she didn't want the camera on her. She didn't care what she was doing. She wasn't trying to stand out. And I was just like, you're perfect, I need you. So me and her had done a short film together years ago. And she was no longer acting, but I begged her to do it. She did it. And then with all the other kids, it was interesting because everyone a part of the film told me not to, especially in the beginning, don't use kids and don't use pets in your film because they're the hardest.
So you broke both of those rules, right?
No, is there a pet? No, I don't think there's a pet in it. But the kids, yeah, I broke the kids rule. But that was actually my favorite part, was working with those kids. There's something about, it was easier to sort of cast them very much based on who they actually were. So so that helped a lot. But with casting, it was just finding the person who just had it, actually, because I'm an actor as well, and it helped me immensely casting, realizing within 2 seconds if the person has the energy for the character or not. It wasn't a ton about what they were doing with the words. And so once we found the kids that way, and with the mom, I think I wanted, because I have a single mom and I remember how strung out she always looked. She was always wearing clothes that were kind of big t-shirts and loose jeans, and because she was working so much, she didn't look like a Beverly Hills mom, or like a very pristine mom that sometimes you see in certain, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all, but very like beautiful, polished moms. And I didn't want her to be like that because I wanted her to really look like a kind of a mom who struggles a lot. So that's how I casted Betsy. She was amazing because she just had this like toughness to her that I wanted. She just seemed tough. So anyways, and then with the kids, it just took a lot of chemistry readings to get them to where they are actually comfortable with each other, and bringing myself down to a level with kids, because I think a lot of adults get scared working with kids because it's like they're aliens, like we're worlds apart from them, but really they're just so nervous to be in front of a bunch of adults who seem a lot older and more mature. So all I would do was kind of self-deprecate myself in front of them, and I'd be like, oh my God, this has been so hard. I don't even know what I'm doing. I suck, and blah, 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 blah. And they would go, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, gosh, it's just, but we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this. And so it made them feel better and easier, and that showed on camera immensely because they just felt more comfortable. So I think that was the biggest thing with casting, because it was mostly all kids.
So this is semi-biographical. What has your friends and family said about the film?
I guess, yeah, it is very much just based on emotional moments. Like, I don't have a sister, I have a brother. So it's not completely all exactly what happened.
Well, it's semi-biographical, but...
Yes, definitely. My mom really responded to it. I think the women in my life that have watched it, friends and family, have, which I didn't expect this, but they've responded they all went through very similar things as women, and I didn't realize. I think especially when you're a kid, you think that you're the only person going through something and no one else is, and you're completely alone. But having friends and family respond to it in a way of it was cathartic for them as well, and very nostalgic, and made them feel like similarly how I felt writing it, of like a hug of like, oh right, we all mess up when we're kids, and we don't always go for the right person and do the right thing, and sometimes we don't always respect ourselves and our body. And so it actually brought me a lot closer to certain people. I think showing vulnerability allowed them to share stories with me that I don't think they would have originally, and so it weirdly brought me a lot closer to certain people in my life. Yeah.
You mentioned early on in this interview that it's cathartic. You learned, you're putting the puzzle together. Mm-hmm. What did you learn about yourself professionally and personally? After the cameras were turned off, the batteries were on the chargers, you're sitting alone in the evening in your hotel room or wherever. Mm-hmm. What were you going through your thoughts? What did you learn about yourself?
It's an interesting question. I think I just learned, like, it's okay. No matter what I do wrong or think that I do wrong, it's gonna be fine. I think getting that outside perspective and seemingly sort of watching my younger self go through something through, actors and other characters. Or I guess I did play one of the characters, but on an outside perspective afterwards, getting that outside perspective, it has helped me immensely through relationships or whatever that has happened since we've filmed. I kind of sometimes laugh of like, oh, right, whatever I'm tripping out about, this actually really doesn't matter. So I'm able to sort of go outside now and get an outside perspective rather than be completely in it. Somehow, I don't know how that really happened with it, but I think that was one thing that I got from it, was that ability.
Lastly, what's next for you? What are you working on? What's next for the film?
I'm working on it as a series right now, so I just finished the pilot. And working that with my manager. I'm really excited about it. I did not see it as a series, but where we've put in a lot of other characters, and I'm excited about it. So that's kind of where I'm going full speed right now. Is Womanhood as a series.
Lastly, what's the website and the handles for yourself professionally, but also too for the web series where we could follow along your successes?
So right now, I don't have a site for the film. I know that's a no-no. I'm gonna, the next film I will do that, but I only have one for myself, my Instagram handle, which is Sierra Swartz, SIERRA SWARTZ. I didn't have a short film website for it because I thought it was just going to be a one and done short film, and then now I'm working on.
Now you're at Bentonville. You're in Northwest Arkansas.
I know. It all happened too fast. I wasn't ready for it. But yeah,
well, congratulations on such a great short film,
Thank
and
you.
we wish you all the best in the web series and everything you do in the future, and we can't wait for you to come back.
Thank you so much.